This is where I realize my most valuable resource isn't just my time, it's my mental and emotional energy. So why not do the things that I love to do and help people tell their story, give them coaching, help consult them on how to show up on a video that's authentic and then get results. This is why you even see I had 2 videos with Crystal saying, here's a client who didn't want marketing. Now look at them and look at what they're doing. It's changed completely how they've done their business. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I'm your host, Nathan Webster, and I'm excited to chop it up with you today. And people say, wait, who's In-Depth? That's me, Nathan Webster. N for Nathan and Dub for W Webster. I think I have to start saying that because people are like, who's In-Depth? It's me, Nathan Webster. All right. Hey, for my first time listeners, thanks for joining the show. I hope you like what you hear and you can immediately apply all the things that you need to not make the same mistakes that I did. And if you do, please rate it with 5 stars. Please like it. Please comment and engage with me. I would definitely want to engage with you back because I think this is, for me, all about making sure that I help the next era or generation of entrepreneurs because, look, we need you for real. And for my worldwide listeners, I couldn't do it without you. And thank you for rocking with me. If it's for 1 year, the 3 years, all 10 years, look, thank you because I could not do this without you. I would have already packed up the show. So let's get into it, right? And I got my notes, y'all, because I'm going to be talking. If I didn't have my notes, y'all, I'll be all over the place. So I got my notes right here. I'm going to do my best to stay on task because today we are talking about the ugly truth about owning a business. Now, I have several different businesses. I have a nonprofit. I have a coaching business. I have a marketing business. I have a website business. I'm a college professor. I have different businesses that I wear all different types of hats on, okay? I wear different types of hats. So I got to put on different type of hats on. Does that make sense? All right. So let's get into it. Because look, I got into this industry because just like you probably seen, everybody wants to sell you a 7-figure coaching dream. They show you the polished webinars, the client testimonies. I say, they have changed my life. They give you screenshots of like Stripe accounts or Amazon. They say, look at what you can do because I've done it and I have no experience. But here's what they don't tell you. Y'all can laugh at my impersonations. Here's the ugly truth, right? Here's where no one's really going to be honest with you about the chaos behind the scenes, the emotional burnout, or the crushing weight you feel knowing that your own money and your own name is on the line, like every single day. They got a highlight reel, and you're like, that's not my reality, because if you were to look behind the scenes, you're going to see struggle, sacrifice, and nonstop problem solving, because I'm going to tell you, this isn't about failure. I'm not trying to tell you about failure. It's what everything I had to learn the hard way, and the parts of the journey that nearly broke me, and I was like rock bottom, and then another rock bottom, and then another rock bottom. And then the lessons that ultimately saved me that I'm going to share with you. So let's get to it, right? If you need to take notes, take some notes. If you need to hit rewind. But when I first started, I had the ultimate advantage that knowing that I was really good at coaching. I've taught at the high school level, from middle school level, high school level, at the college level. I was really good at coaching. I knew how to help people get results. And what I completely failed to appreciate was that being a great coach doesn't mean that you're going to be a good business owner. But I was enamored with the whole thing. And so I took on these 2 jobs of being a business owner and the expert in my field as a genius in my craft. But the second you call yourself a founder, you're also all the other things, like a marketer, a salesperson, content creator, bookkeeper, lawyer. You're like this pianist that's supposed to be playing Chopin, but right, you become in the flight of the bumblebee, and every key is a different critical part of the business that you feels like is crushing you. What gives you a serious case of identity whiplash is one minute you're on a call like crushing it as an expert, and then the next moment you're like, what is going on? I don't know what to do. I don't know how this works. And you're trying to map out a client's 5-year plan, but you feel completely lost trying to nail down the end of the day or what you're going to even eat for lunch. This gap is exactly where imposter syndrome just loves to camp. And you're like, I can't do this. I can't do this. But no, you can. All right. And here's what sends you down a rabbit hole of you buying more things that you do not need because you're feeling inadequate. And the uncomfortableness is just painstakingly loud. It's deafening. And it doesn't have to be like that. Right. You know, right? You feel me on that? Comment below if you know what I'm talking about. And then there's an emotional roller coaster of revenue. Like when I was coming out like 10 plus years ago, people were putting on their websites how much money they were making. I'm like, why would you put like, man, I ain't trying to have people open my business. But, you know, for every big, amazing launch, there's a equally brutal, gut-wrenching low that a lot of people don't show and tell you about. Where like you hit your goals, right? No matter how hard it was, you hit your goals and you feel like you're on top of the world, but then it's followed by a month where you don't. And it's crickets because people are not celebrating, but you're also not sharing it, right? Because you don't want folks to know like how hard this is, right? You want to say it's hard and I'm crushing it, but when it's hard and you're not, you're like, they're going to think I'm a fraud, right? That's the inconsistency, emotional tax that nobody ever is really preparing you for. Not to say like people don't talk about it now, because they do, but there's no way to prepare you for it because you see all these people celebrating their wins and then this toxic culture of looking successful, then whether the real success of being successful. Because you tie your self-worth to your self-revenue, and it's a dangerous game that leads straight to burnout. And then you question yourself because you're glorifying the result and not the grind, not the hustle, not the process that's making you feel who you are as that expert, because you are, right? You are. Like you can't take away what I learned. If you go to school, you get a degree, right? No one can take that away from you. But when you're glorifying the end result and not where you come from, because there's no degree to talk about all that you have learned, which is a completely another podcast, which I'll do. But y'all, look, this is where we got to stop being so hard on ourselves and learn to love ourselves. And this is why I put out my own posts of social media. And if you know what I'm talking about, when I say keep social media real, you've seen it, right? Because if we're keeping it real, the emotional toll is a heavy burden. And it's more not just about us, because your personal demons become your business obstacles, but this is where the structural problems is in the business itself. And look, I got ADHD. I'm all over the place. And, you know, they say, hey, be quiet while your head is down and let your success be the noise. But that's the boring mistakes that are anything but boring when they're threatening to sink your company, because then you start making it about you, and it's not. No, it's not about you. It's just the way you're structuring your business. Here's my first mistake, okay? All right? And I got three. But my first one is thinking like I can try to help everyone. You can't be all things to all people. And when you're new, you're just desperate for clients. So you take everyone who's willing to pay you. So your niche becomes anyone with the pulse and a credit card, because you need to pay this invoice. My marketing message was like some generic fluff like, and it's probably still out there if you see it. I help entrepreneurs grow their businesses. Not the greatest tagline, right? Because the problem is when your message is for everyone, it resonates with no one. Donald Miller even says, this marketing guru expert, he says, when you confuse, you lose. And when your content is bland, your marketing is all over the place. And Raylan, she comes on the show all the time. She says, I'm looking for champagne clients. I'm not a vanilla type of person. And so you have no real authority if you're not saying this is the specific thing you can do for these specific people, which makes it impossible to charge premium prices, because just think of all the work that you've done just to get to where you're at. And then you're just like, meh, with the people looking at you like, well, I don't know if you can serve me the way I need to be served, because now you look like a jack and Jill of all trades rather than the master of this one. Okay, so here's where don't try to be all things to all people, and we can talk about that later. But here's the number two thing I mess up on is the money thing, right? I already said this year I am not going to make the same mistakes I did before. I bought all the expensive software that I can afford, the webinars, the tools, the CRMs, right? I was obsessed with the revenue, that flashy number I could brag about, put it on my website, put it on social media, and say in networking, my business is making this much, but I had no budget. I had zero savings and slow months that would come, and it would crush me. It would hurt my ego. And your business doesn't die from a lack of revenue. It dies from a lack of cash. So cash is king, right? We say in marketing, content is king. Well, for business, I had to learn the hard way that cash is king. And again, that's a whole nother topic, but that's why I brought on Carol. Not Carol. Oh my gosh, Crystal. I was thinking about both Crystal and Chris. I brought in my last episodes or my last year of podcasting because we need to talk about money. Because here, which leads directly to number 3, is this DIY trap, the do it yourself. I can do everything. I can wear all the hats. But if you're not careful, you think you can do it all to the point where it's going to allow you to grow, and it's not. I can't be all these things even to me in this business because it can't grow if I'm not the expert. Because I'm here trying to be the best expert for my marketing, my website, my business coaches, but yet I have no experts working in the business for me. And what it was really costing me, not just money, but my energy, my capacity, right? Right? Because you know what I'm talking about. Please comment if you know what I'm talking about. Please comment. Please. I want to know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. But you know what I'm talking about. So here's where I had a turning point, and I'm like, man, enough is enough. You know when you get to the point where Les Brown says when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired? That's where I was at. Because it wasn't this big explosion. It was like a slow burn, like that dull ache. And it was like realizing I ain't got no money. I don't have time. Relationships were bad. I wasn't able to go golfing like I wanted to. I wasn't able to do the things that I really enjoyed. And it was a feeling like when I had to write these social media posts, I was trying to talk to so many different people at once instead of talking to the individuals that I knew I could help. I could truly be who the person I wanted to be. So my final straw was, I remember, man, like it was yesterday, I knew what intersection I was at when I had this big contract and I had some money in my bank account, y'all. My bills are paid, but there was no parade. There was no fanfare. There was no one screaming my name. And you know what it really felt? Because I was a mess. Everything around me was a mess. I felt empty because I was doing all the things for the business and not doing anything that I loved, which was helping my clients get to where they needed to be, whether if that's coaching, marketing, website. I was doing all the things to run the business because I was just so obsessed with what I thought it should have been. I created a prison for myself. I mean, they were cool stuff, shiny objects, but they were of other people's expectations of what I wanted them to think of me. I didn't have good boundaries, and I'm working on that, even personally. So I had to build a business based on what I thought was a successful coach or a successful marketer or a successful expert. Y'all, you see my whole almost last 50 some episodes were of me bringing on other people to talk to you about this because I knew I could not be all things to all people. So instead of using all the templates that I bought or building a business that actually worked for me, I was doing something different, and I was on the fast track of becoming what a lot of folks do is burn out and become a bad expert, and then they lose their business. And I didn't want that. So you're not alone. Okay. Here's the lessons that I learned from like the boring stuff that saves you. Okay. Breaking everything down that forced me to learn the lessons that I was avoiding, the boring systems that I avoided, that I'm like, man, nobody wants to post on Insta about this, right? And this could be about how I needed to structure my day, to my team, what I delegated. And that changed the game. And like I said, I've already brought on Crystal. I've talked to Chris, right? Because I needed to talk about money. I had, on a personal level, unhealthy relationships with money. I'm just being honest and real, right? But that's where I'm at. I mean, I have a beautiful office, right? But I'd rather have a beautiful studio, right? But I'm going to get that, right? Here's the other second thing that I want you to walk away with, and I'm almost done here, was my own capacity, my bandwidth. I only have so much time. We all have 24 hours in the day, right? But here's where I had to stop pricing my services based on what I thought the market would pay and started pricing them what the value I know delivered. And I had one great client that says, like, how did you learn this stuff? Like, were you taught this? I was like, because they were like, is this something you went to school for, or is this through instinct? And I'm like, it's both, but majority of it's instinct because I failed so many times using other people's advice, fulfilling what I thought was their expectations. And so what I would be is all things to all people, which means I was always available to them. And I got rid of that unlimited access to me, where my clients or anyone had access to me. And this let me serve my clients in the highest way possible without completely draining myself. And what really did it, and the thing that I had to embrace, was that I have to focus on the thing that's going to make me happy. So it started a year ago when I said I was going to do YouTube, right? I've been doing YouTube for a hot minute, but then when it's not just doing YouTube, it was actually putting out videos that I watched. Do you know I did this podcast for like 8 years and never really watched the video as entertainment or as an instructional piece, but yet I'm telling people what to do, and yet I'm not watching it. I'm going to watch this video. I'm like, man, I'm pretty good, but right, let me take some notes down. What else do I need to do, right? Because this is where I realized my most valuable resource isn't just my time, it's my mental and emotional energy. So why not do the things that I love to do and help people tell their story, give them coaching, help consult them on how to show up on a video that's authentic and then get results. This is why you even see I had 2 videos with Crystal saying, here's a client who didn't want marketing. Now look at them and look at what they're doing. It's changed completely how they've done their business. So here's where I stopped trying to be all things to all people. I narrowed it down to one core offer. Yes, I still do this and I do that and this, but now I'm focusing on helping people create a YouTube channel that represents who they are, because look, yes, it's for other people, but first and foremost, it's about you. It's about you. So I had this journey that I was on, all right? And let me just take a quick pause. Let me take a quick pause because this focus brought so much clarity to my marketing that I wasn't doing. I started to attract the right people. More significantly, it made the business fun again because now it was simple. Now, and look, simple is hard when we ignore the basics. So this journey, and here's where I'm going to conclude, and my CTA to you, my call to action, because this is not just about me, this is about you too, because you're watching it, right? This is not what's, okay, let me get my words right. Matter of fact, let me go to my notes. I'm going to move my notes over here so I can see it correctly, okay? What's sold in the coaching, marketing, website industry, like at my budget level, is a fantasy. I can't afford that. I'm not going to say it's, some of the stuff is a get rich scheme dressed up in motivational quotes. Okay. The ugly truth about building a sustainable business, it has almost nothing to do with all the funnels that you need to build. It's part of it that needs to happen, right? But it's about mastering the fundamentals, starting with you. And it's building a business that serves you, your life, to you, your family, your home, and your community. And it's not forced to serve your business, because otherwise you just have another job. It's about avoiding the hard parts, about knowing what they are and actually preparing for them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially with me and my kids, I want them to know that I'm present. But that also shows up in my professional life too. So here's where you are choosing a niche. So you not only know what you do really well, but you can speak to it in your business and like in numbers and your structure and how you can help them succeed, right? And that feels really good. Like, ooh, you're getting it. All right, let me focus back on my notes. Because even if it doesn't look like everyone else, that's okay. Because you're being you, right? Embrace that. Who cares about what other people are thinking or saying? You know, when I put my videos out, just post, right? I'm still on this journey. I'm still figuring it out. But I know one thing. I'm building it completely different than I was before. And it's beautiful because it's it's intentional, it's deliberate, and it's with boundaries. And I tell you, in the last month, I had a new rock bottom, but I'm climbing out of it because it's for let me come back to my notes, right? A whole lot of respect for the boring stuff that I didn't have the respect for before. And it's not the trajectory that I want, but it's the one that I need. And it's one that I know is going to last because if you too are tired of all the hype and you're not making the traction, then here's where I'm going to tell you, let me help you, right? Let me help you get to where you want to be because I'm telling you, and if not, if you don't want to hire me, just hit subscribe, like the video, engage with me, I'll engage with you back. I'm going to be sharing more of what this looks like because I know this is what's going to move a lot of people from feeling this isolation or suffering in silence. You don't have to be that way. And if it's not me, go find someone to help you with this because you do not have to do this alone and you shouldn't. That's the lie of all of this. The ugly truth about having a business is you have to do it for you. And I remember going to this conference. It was Eric Thomas. And this is the last thing I say before I let y'all do your thing. He said, it was a beautiful facility. And it's this image I even have up on my computer. It says, the creator gave you each a blank check, but it's up to you to fill it out with what you want. So y'all, if you haven't already decided that it's not worth building because I'm going to use my notes. Resilience isn't something you're born with. It's what you build by navigating the hard truths. And now that you know what they are, I can help you. Someone else can help you, but don't feel like you have to do it alone. So with that, I wish you nothing but the best. Dream big and Godspeed. I'm out.